Hello and welcome to InvertiCast today. I have a super special, awesome guest from Fatty Pancake. It is Mel. Hello, Mel.
Hi, how are you?
And I, of course, am Leah from Tarantula, or at least that's where some of you might know me from. But today, obviously, we're going to be chatting all about Fatty Pancake and that brand and kind of where it came from and yeah, let's start there. Let's start with
Sounds good.
where did Fatty Pancake come from? How did that start?
Fatty Pancake was a once upon a time, she was an actual living bearded dragon. Um, she was more of a rescued bearded dragon because I was just new to keeping reptiles at the time. And you know how you get like totally on fire whenever you're just starting something new?
Oh yeah.
I had my one and I definitely wanted to get a secondary one. And so I was looking on Craigslist, which was probably not the best of things to do, but I came across her and I saw that she was in dire need of like getting out of a situation.
Oh,
So I got her into my possession and got her all healed up, and
nice.
she just got the nickname of Fatty Pancake because when I first got her, like, she looked like a super robust little, like, animal, and, she really wasn't because she was egg bound at the time, and
uh,
I didn't know this until we got surgery done on her for another health issue, but when I got her, back and the surgery was successful and she all healed up, like whenever she would sit on her basking spot, she looked like pancake batter that just like spread and
aw.
spread and spread and spread and spread. And so Fatty Pancake became her nickname. And the year that I started my business was unfortunately the same year that she had passed away. So I just
Aw.
sort of immortalized her into like my business. And I had been drawing reptile art for quite a few years prior and
Uh-huh.
really wanted to just kind of like start a website because I wasn't really noticing a whole bunch of like artists out there
Uh-huh.
outside of like maybe a few on Etsy or something like that.
Yeah.
And I had gone to other reptile shows too, and there was just a small amount of us there. So I was
Yeah.
like, Welp, my art skills, my passion for reptiles, here's a great combination and we're just going to start this. So
Yes.
that's essentially how it was born.
I love it. I love it so much. Like honestly, when I see you at an expo, because I have seen you a few times,
Yeah.
here, here in Denver. I think you were up in Loveland once.
Yes.
But anytime I see your tables, I am just elated. I am so happy and excited because I totally agree with you. I do feel like the artistic side of just art of reptiles and inverts in general is
hmm
really needed. Like
Yeah,
we love our animals. We're very proud of them, and so
we
what
are.
better way to like express that than through your art? Like it's awesome. I love it.
Mhm. And it's starting to grow, like or I
Mm.
should say it has grown, like,
Mhm.
exponentially since, like, the time that I started, and I find it great, I always love seeing new artists come onto the scene because it's
Oh yeah.
different from what I do, and I'm just like, "How do they view, like, reptiles and inverts?" Because everybody's very different on what they want to, like, draw and paint.
Right.
And so, between,
Oh,
various
sorry.
different creators oh, no, you're good. Um, we're gonna have the animal blooper reel,
You know,
of animals, like, jumping into laps and stuff like that.
for sure.
But, yeah,
Go ahead. I'm
I
sorry.
always love no, it's totally fine. I am one of those people who might do a squirrel moment because as a person who has, like, ADHD, that's just my brain. So, please
Yeah,
forgive
same.
me if that does happen. So
No worries, no worries.
So yeah, I just feel like it's really nice to see a lot more creatives and a lot more artists come onto the scene because that kind of diversity and like community that we're building is really important. Having that kind
Yes,
of a social connection is always really critical.
absolutely. I feel like a lot of time with our animals, a lot of people who keep animals, they definitely have a very strong emotional connection.
Mhm.
And so I agree that the creative connection with the animals as well is really it's really profound. And
Yes.
I think there needs to be a lot more of it. And I agree with you on that.
Yeah.
Um,
And two, it plus two, it's really nice when as somebody who's a non-breeder,
uh-huh.
there's people there that I can actually relate with because a
Yeah.
lot of our folks in our industry are more breeder specific
Yes,
and they have their own kind of like I don't want to say click, but that is kind of what it is.
they do.
And it's kind of nice when other artists are able to kind of come together to form their own clique so we can,
Yes.
go do dinners and network together and,
Yeah.
just kind of have a social system that we can, kind of go to.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I I I agree with you wholeheartedly. Like I also feel that kind of in the reptile hobby and expos and stuff, I sometimes feel like breeders and just that side of it, they
Mhm.
tend to not take the artistic people and like the creatives very seriously. And so, have you noticed that at all, or is that something that I'm just weird?
Um, I noticed that we don't get included in a lot of like the social stuff. Like
Yeah,
it's almost kind of like an afterthought. Oh, hey, so and so was interested in going. Like, do you want to
yeah,
throw them an invite? Um, and but it does. It kind of feels like you're just like this vestigial thing kind of hanging out there, even though, you are representing part of that community. Um,
absolutely.
and it's not that they don't appreciate it because believe you me, there are so many vendors who come to my booth and show their love and support all the time.
Oh,
But
that's great.
yeah, I mean, and I love them for that. But when it comes to like the connections and the networking, it's
Hmm.
definitely more of a specified thing for them.
Hmm. Okay. Well, and that's for me, like that's why it was so important to be able to include people like you on this podcast. I didn't want to just have only like breeders and things like that. For me, it was just like, well, you're just as much a part of this community
Hmm.
as anyone else, and I
Yeah.
feel that that's something that we need to instill a little more.
Right.
um,
Right.
okay, so do you currently have any reptiles or invertebrates that you keep now?
I do have reptiles. I've got
Cool.
5, and then I have 2 amphibians in the forms of axolotls.
Oh, gotta love
So for
axolotls.
I know, they're so delightful. So the reptiles that I have, I've got a rosy boa, my bearded dragon, an Aki monitor, crescent
Awesome.
gecko, and a lychee. So, yeah.
Wow. Very
I
diverse group. How cool.
I do, yes, yes. The lychee was the last one to be or no, the rosy boa was technically the last one that I added, and,
Uh-huh.
she's my first snake ever, actually. So, I've been
Okay.
keeping lizards predominantly for, all this time,
Yeah.
and I was like, I really wanna get a snake, I just don't know what snake, just because so many species are very, like, they have those high humidity requirements and
Right.
us being in a super dry climate
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
just like I don't really want to have to combat that.
Yeah.
So I was like, all right, I'm making a list of all my requirements that I need this animal to check, and there was like only a few select that I was able to find, but
Right.
rosy boas were right at the top, and so I was like, all right,
Yes.
now I got to go find myself a breeder somewhere
Yeah,
because they're not
absolutely.
common.
No, they're really not, but they are fantastic little pets. Like they are really, really
Yeah.
cool. They're
Yeah.
pretty docile.
Mhm.
Um, I don't think I've ever heard of anyone being bitten by like Rosie Boa, and that
I did, but I mean, that
you
was
did.
kind of my fault, yeah, because I was
It
feeding
happens.
her at the time, and she was just,
Yeah.
like, so, like, excited to get her mouse that she was
Oh
just
yeah.
like, "Is that a mouse?" And it's like, "No, that's my thumb, dear, stop, like, let's detach."
Not gonna lie, my Mexican black king snake, Catalina, has bitten me quite a few times and actually tried to eat my pinky.
Oh,
Um,
no.
like he started, doing the
The
thing where they're
mouth
swallowing.
wiggle,
Yep.
yeah. Oh,
And I'm
no.
going, oh no, you don't want to do that, honey.
It's like, "Stop, stop, 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 stop."
Yeah, definitely, definitely. But they're colubrids, so
Mhm.
they just have that high prey drive. So, and yeah, and most of
For
the time
sure.
when if Catalina gets me, it's usually my fault. I just have my finger in the wrong spot or whatever.
Mhm. User error
Um,
is generally where the bites come from. Yep.
yeah, definitely. But I mean, even still, it's so cute. It's so cute when it happens. Maybe not for like a boa or
Something large
like
where
a
it's
pipe.
gonna hurt.
Yeah,
Yeah, I don't think I would find that cute. I would just be like, "Ow," as I'm
yeah,
gently trying to wait for them to, like, unhook themselves.
yeah, absolutely. Or yeah, no, it's I've taken a few ball python bites as well, and I mean they're not the worst thing, but they're definitely not a fun time.
Yeah. Oh, for sure.
So, do you have like a favorite species of reptile or invertebrate or anything like that?
So I've never kept any inverts before, but
Okay,
in my garden outside, I can't tell you how many jumping spiders like exist out there,
I
and
love it.
they're prone to coming inside my house as well. So every time I see them, I'm just kind of like, oh, you're coming to live
Aw,
with me.
yes.
And I just sort of leave them alone, and I kind of feel like they do their little spidery things inside of my house, taking care of, what needs to be taken care of. And they're all very healthy, I can tell you that. So I don't know what they're eating inside of my house, but that's cause for concern. I'm not sure.
You would be surprised. You might be surprised. Jumping spiders, I think they also eat other spiders.
They do.
So, yeah,
Hmm.
they'll eat other bigger, species of spiders. So
I've
if
I've seen one go after a black widow before.
there you
Like,
go.
yeah, so I that's one of the primary reasons why I love keeping them around so much is because
Yeah,
they will take care of those little girls.
they take care of the widows, that's for sure.
Mhm. Yep.
I can't speak on that because I love all spiders, but that's okay.
I do, like,
Um,
I actually keep I it's weird because I recognize that, even the more, dangerous, or
yeah,
potentially dangerous spiders, they have their role in the ecosystem as well.
they
So
do.
I never go
Yes,
out of my way to actively like kill anything. I'm always relocating it, whether it's outdoors or
I love
somewhere
that.
else. So, because they have that part. And I want my gardens in particular, I want
Hmm.
it to have more of a naturalistic, kind of pest control.
Absolutely.
I'm not a fan of spraying, I've
No, yeah.
stopped doing that on my property, which may or may not be a good or bad thing. I'm not it's kind of on the fence because I know we have termites in our area. So
Okay.
I'm just like, I don't know if that's like what is controlling the termites, and hopefully they never get inside my house, but
I'm pretty sure that there's a couple species of centipede and millipedes actually here in Colorado that take care of termites.
ooh,
But
okay.
I don't know for a fact, but I'll research that and then I'll email it to
That would be awesome. That would be
you.
awesome because I
I'll
do
find out.
see a ton of millipedes and centipedes in my yard as well. So,
Cool.
I mean, maybe I'm already fast tracking on that, kind of like natural pest control, if you will.
Yeah. No, I think
Yeah.
that's stellar. Absolutely. I'm the same way with my yard. I don't really have like a garden per se,
Hmm.
but I have pretty much just left the leaf litter from all the fall leaves. I let them fall
Hmm.
and I let them stay.
Same.
Um, mainly because yeah, like little beetles, little bees like the bumblebees and
Hmm.
other pollinators, they actually really rely on that to survive through the winter. So
Right.
uh, I'm like, no, we're not doing that. We want to help save some bees. Um,
Exactly. So
yeah,
for like reptiles, I am partial to bearded dragons, but
yeah.
I would also just love to have a tegu as well
Oh,
because
tegus are so cool,
they're amazing. They're amazing.
right?
my thing is the space and
Yeah,
being able to dedicate the time to do proper training for them.
yeah,
So I think that if I were to get one, I would probably only keep like maybe one or two other like animals so I could
sure.
devote more time to that animal because they are bigger. They
Yeah,
have a significantly more like medically significant bite if something were to happen, so,
right.
you want to do what you can to try and mitigate that, and, having that time and training involved is pretty necessary.
Absolutely. It's pretty involved. I agree.
Yeah,
Um, but yeah, tegus are amazing animals. They're beautiful. So I can see why you would love them so much because they are really, really cool.
probably too
Um,
smart for their own good.
right? Much like my doggy. My
Oh,
doggy,
yeah.
she is way too smart for her own good. So how did you get into herpetom? Is it herpetomology?
Oh, herpetology?
Yeah,
I mean,
herpetology.
I wouldn't call myself a herpetologist. I would just say I'm more of a big, big fan. I'm like a reptile groupie, I guess.
Yes,
Um,
we're enthusiasts.
we're total enthusiasts.
Absolutely.
So I've always really loved animals like all my life.
Awesome. Yes.
And we grew up pretty much with like a farm without having a farm. I mean, we had uh dogs, cat, and I say cat because that's the only cat we had, and he was mine for many, many years.
Uh-huh.
And we had fish, we had a duck, we had two Angora rabbits, we had some fire belly frogs, those belonged to
Wow.
my brother, and yeah, like we just had and a horse, like that was my big responsibility once we finally, brought him to our into the family. And
Yeah.
so yeah, we've always had like animals around us and in our house, but the
Very
one
cool.
thing that we were not able to keep inside the house was reptiles because my mom was like,
Mm.
I never wanna see a snake inside here, like, ever." But, like, so, unbeknownst to her for a short period of time until she discovered one day, there was a group of garter snakes that moved into a rock garden that my mom had built on the one side of the house, and she planted, like, flowers and vegetables and everything.
Uh-huh.
And so when I discovered this, I started just like picking them up and, like drawing them and stuff. And
Yeah.
and that and after a while, like, they got so acclimated to my, like, presence that they're just like, "Ugh, the girl is back again. Just don't even bother musking. She's not gonna be impacted. Just let her pick you up. You'll be out for a little while in the sun, and she'll be drawing you for a little while, and then you're done. She'll put you right on back." So,
How
they got
cute though.
so used to it, and some of them, like, they got really big, like, they were well, my camera can't, probably about, I don't know, a good 2 feet for some
Wow.
of them, and really
Okay.
stout and chunky looking.
Amazing.
But yeah,
How fun. How cute. How cool is that?
yeah, yeah, they were
I love
wonderful.
that. I too have like I've grown up around animals as well, but not at the same capacity. Mostly for me, it's just been, like because I grew up in the suburbs, so we of
Okay.
course had, dogs and cats and hamsters. I think I had a guinea pig.
Oh, nice. Oh,
Yeah,
yeah,
and
we had hamsters too at one point. Yeah, the, like,
the,
little teddy bear hamsters.
yeah, I mean, gotta love hamsters. They are so cool. I have a little teddy bear hamster now named
Oh,
Mochaccino or no Macchiato. We call him
oh,
Moki.
that's so cute.
Yeah, and he's just such a little lovey bug. And I will say that like we kind of rescued him from the PetSmart, and
Yeah.
the girl who was talking to us about him was like, "Oh, he doesn't like me. He bites and all this stuff." And I'm like, we've had him for close to 2.5, 3 years almost, and he's never bit any one of us. Like
Mhm.
I'm like,
Yeah.
I don't know what you're talking about. Tracy must have been handling him
Yeah.
weird or something.
Right. And well, and those pet stores, they're just such high stress places for animals because
Yeah.
there's so many people that come in and out of the
Yeah.
store. It's noisy.
Oh yeah.
people handling them all the time. I mean, if
All
I was in
right.
a situation like that, I'd be wanting to bite people too and like yell at
Right?
them and just be like, "Get away from me," you know? It's like, "Back off. I need my space."
Absolutely. Of course. I mean, yeah, I'm not really a big fan of the big box pet stores.
Mhm.
I mean, clearly, I think a lot of us aren't, just for
Yeah.
the fact that, they don't discern between like wild caught and captive bred specimens. So that in itself is a huge controversy like throughout the hobby. Um, so yeah, okay, that's a whole different topic.
Oh, I know. We could go on a rant on that one.
Right?
The only reason that I even still shop at some of those is because they're the only ones that I can find like night crawlers for my
Yeah,
axolotls. And I mean, I could try Walmart, but half the time that I was going to Walmart too, I would pull open like the boxes to check them and they'd be all moldy on the inside. And I'm just
yeah.
like, you know what? No, I'm just
What a pain. Ugh.
yeah.
I do agree that like the big box, those pet stores, they have amazing products. Like
Mhm.
as far as,
Mhm.
stuff for dogs and cats, for, any small animal,
Yeah.
they they carry like everything. And that's great because um you get that variety. So that's
Yes.
always a nice bonus to it. It's just I'm just not a fan of how they procure their specimens.
Yeah. Or teach their employees.
Oh, yeah, I can't even. I just can't even. Like, my corn snake was essentially a rescue from the box store that's close to my home,
Oh,
because
really?
I saw her. Her name's Pasadena.
Oh.
She's a ultra male aneri corn snake, so she's almost lavender. Like, she looks like she's really pretty. When I
Mhm.
got her though, like, when I saw her, she was just so thin,
Oh,
and
no.
yeah, and she was, close to 2 feet long at least, and I'm going, "This isn't right. You should be thicker."
Yeah.
Like,
Oh my
there's
goodness.
and then, but I saw her and I kept her in my mind, and I asked the people. I said, "Well, what were you feeding her? What have you feeding her?" They were like, "Oh, she gets a pinky once a week." And I'm like, "A pinky?
That's
That's
it?
it?" Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
A snake
Yeah,
that
so
size totally needs to be eating bigger.
yeah.
Oh, that poor thing.
But since she's been in my care, I mean, she is a robust, healthy girl, but it took me a while to get her to the level that she needed to be at, and like the
Mhm.
size of rodents that she needed to be eating.
Yes.
But now she eats rat pups like a champ, and
Nice.
she's nice and healthy and thick. She don't you know We're not seeing her vertebra.
Mhm.
I think her first couple of sheds were like just pieces,
Mhm.
but now she's shedding in one nice long piece, and so I'm really proud of myself for that. But I
Well, and it's
also,
always, like, also just very fulfilling when you can actually get an
yeah,
animal to turn around like that because
yeah,
there are unfortunate cases where people have tried and the animal
yeah,
just crashes.
yeah, and it's awful. It's just
Mhm.
awful. So I mean, that's I'm with you on this. Like, it's part of the reason that I'm not huge supporter of them, but
Yeah.
eh, they hit and miss a few. Okay.
Yeah. Our tangent is about ready to go, you know?
Right? No, it was
Yeah.
a good one. It was a good one. I love it. I love that. See, I love that you have the same kind of passion for the animals
Mhm.
as somebody who's breeding, or someone like me. I'm just a keeper, but I make videos and stuff about it. But I knew that passion would be there, so I feel like having you on the show and having that ability to showcase your passion for the animals. I think that's a huge plus for you. Does that
Mhm.
make sense? Like, not
Oh,
only are you creating,
absolutely.
you're creating these beautiful works of art, and I love your little hognose design. I think it's one of the coolest. Um, and so it really shows that there is a lot more behind the artwork than just an inspiration. You know what I mean? There's
Mhm. There's
emotion
a
behind it.
love. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
absolutely. So thanks for being here.
Yeah, thank you, and thank you for inviting me. Like, when it was
Yeah.
funny because when you first, like, approached me on it, I'm like, "InvertiCast," is like, I know that they're gonna focus heavily on inverts, and I'm like, "Hmm, I have so much more reptile stuff on my table. I'm not sure if this is gonna really, like, jive with what they're looking for," but I'm like,
Oh,
"Why not? Let's just go for it, see what happens."
it totally jives. I feel I feel like it does because um, I mean, here in the States, especially, reptiles and invertebrates, they typically come in their own, in the same show.
That's true.
Um, ov- Over in the UK, they have an all invert show. So they don't do,
Really?
yeah, they don't compact them together. So I'm a little jealous of that. But
Yeah.
on the same token, I also keep reptiles. I keep snakes, but I
Mhm.
love them. And, um,
So what other
you know,
snakes
that
do you have?
So I have 3 ball pythons, a red-tailed boa, and corn snake, and the Mexican black king snake.
Nice.
So delving into the reptile world is totally okay with us because,
Mhm.
a lot of people who keep inverts also keep reptiles. A lot
True.
of people who keep reptiles also keep inverts.
That's
So
true.
I think it just kind of goes hand in hand. It works.
Perfect.
Yes. So speaking of like stores and kind of retail, since we were there,
Mhm.
I had a question about your price points. Like, how do you create your price points? How did you decide where those should be for your work? Because I know that's really difficult for like newcomers
Mhm.
to creating artwork and having that on sale. So, how did you
Yeah.
start?
So, doing a price point, it's such a good question, but it's also a tough question
Okay.
because there's so many different variables when it comes to pricing your work. And
Mm,
it's like there's some formulas that you can use, but ultimately, as an artist, you have to sit down and assess like what your worth and value are in terms of your artwork. And
okay.
that's such a hard thing for an artist to do because
Yeah.
we approach our artwork from like love. We don't like money is an afterthought. Like this is not something
Absolutely.
that
Yeah.
we're doing because, we want to earn money. We do it out of passion.
Right.
And when I started Fatty Pancake, um, I knew that I wanted to do something that was more e-commerce driven and more just like working more specifically with print on demand. And if you're
Okay.
not familiar with that, that's essentially you are going to a company that will fulfill your product orders by taking
Uh,
the designs you upload and
uh-huh.
then they will print it on a variety of products and then ship it to your customers.
Okay.
It's sort of it gets kind of linked with drop shipping, but it's not 100% drop shipping because
Okay.
there is some like customizable like attributes to it that you're using.
Yeah.
Uh, but that's essentially what it is. And generally, when you're working with print on demand, it's a little easier to price yourself because you've
Mhm,
got a base price of a product and then
mhm.
you just adjust depending on, you know, what like if you want to increase it by like 15% or 20% or 30%, there's a certain like there's a certain percentage that you're gonna hit where, nobody's gonna wanna buy a t-shirt for $45 unless you're
Oh, certainly.
somebody like Supreme or something like that. But
Taylor Swift.
yes, or
No.
Taylor Swift, yeah. Somebody who clearly has, like, a huge name,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
they can, like, do that. But you oftentimes are sort of at, like, the whims of the market
Okay,
because, like all things, especially right now with the economy, with it kind of being like, a lot of people are saving more, they're not wanting to spend
yeah,
more.
yeah.
So you want to be cautious and know your market and know how much you can actually like price something at that's going to be comfortable for that market.
Okay,
And if it's different, however, if you're going to be selling in like a commission, like if you're going to be doing commissions,
Uh-huh.
calculating your price there is going to be drastically different, as well as if you're going to be doing like wholesale with customers, or if you're
Sure.
going to be doing galleries or doing like the shows and events, because
Right.
there's all of these fees that you have to calculate. You
Uh-huh.
have to calculate for taxes, advertisement, just like a whole bunch of other like things that you wouldn't
Right.
otherwise really like know about going in, and you're kind of all, I did not realize how expensive all of this stuff is going to add up, and it's going to cut into a particular like profit on my end.
Right.
um when I was still working with commissions, typically what I was doing was I was assessing how long it took me
Uh,
to do a particular piece of artwork, and
okay.
then calculating my minimum hour or my minimum hourly wage that I wanted to work. And that worked as a base price, and I would fluctuate, and that number would go up depending on various factors, like how many subject matters are going to be inside of this illustration,
Okay.
like how complex was it going to be? Like, is this going to take me over 120 hours to work, which that
Sure.
almost never happened, but I mean, there were projects where it did extend over, a 30-hour mark. And it was like I needed to be, respectfully compensated for that. And
Absolutely.
yeah, there's another way that you can do it, like if you're doing traditional work as well,
Mhm.
factoring in your material costs, and
Mhm.
then taking your, I believe it's the size of the canvas or whatever, material you're using, and
Right.
then calculating out per square inch how much it costs per square inch. And there's
Okay.
a lot of artists that also will use that methodology as well. Um, but again, every artist is really different how they really approach it. Some don't even use that. Like some just say, this is what my base rate is because I've
Right.
looked at what other people are charging, and at like professional markets are charging, and
Okay.
they will set their prices based off that. And then if like depending on how many clients they find, they can adjust and say, okay, well, maybe I'm charging just a little bit too much. Maybe I can drop it just a little bit. Or they discover, ooh, I'm not charging nearly enough as much as I should be. So let's readjust this, and let's, uh get these numbers where they need to be.
Right.
But yeah.
Okay. No, that makes total sense. I I hear there's so many factors. It's very complex, but it makes a lot of sense. So,
Yeah.
cool. Thank you for that. Thank you
Yeah.
very much for that.
I really wish that it was just as easy as if you do X plus Y, this is what you charge.
Right?
But the fact of the matter is that there's just so many variables that go into
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
And you also have to factor in too, like at the end of the day, you're still being taxed for that too. So it's
Of
like you kind
course.
of have to be you have to be aware of that as well. And
Yeah.
one thing that I also noticed, when I started charging professional rates for my
Uh-huh.
work, my clientele changed. So
Okay.
I started getting people who were a lot more serious about like what kind of projects that they wanted to do, and they
Right.
were more committed to it.
Okay.
When I was younger, when I was doing a lot of like um, just cheap designs for people, like sketches for like $5,
Sure.
$10, and I cringe, saying that because
Yeah.
I fell
No,
into
I
that trap when I was younger too.
yep.
And but oftentimes the people that I would be working with were really difficult. They
Mm,
would come back and they would just be like, "Well, I really don't like the way this is turning out," or "I don't like, this," or they'll just ghost you and not, return
not
your
ever pay you.
messages. Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
yeah.
And it was super frustrating, but when I finally pushed myself and got more comfortable charging professional rates, I
Right.
noticed that saw a significant drop.
Okay.
And I got more customers who are more willing, or who are more serious about commissioning me for work.
Good. I think that yeah, I mean that makes a lot of sense because you know your price points, and when you do something professionally, you're going to weed out those people who really aren't
Mhm.
all that serious. And
Right.
you know and this is another thing that I like to do with my friends. Like if your friend has a profession that they're doing, say they're a massage therapist,
Mhm.
um don't just expect them to give you massages for
Oh,
nothing.
right.
Like that's so
Yes.
rude.
Yes.
Like
Yeah, they do say in the art industry that friends and family are some of the worst people to work for unless you have a contract
unfortunately.
in place.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah.
It's true because they're just gonna assume that because you're friends, they're gonna get, like, those perks and stuff.
Yep.
So,
Heavy
friends and
discounts.
family, you guys, come on now, alright? Take us seriously.
Support your fellow artists. Come on, even if they're friends and
Exactly.
family.
For real. I love it. So this is a good time, like, your website, so fattypancake.com is insanely beautiful. It
Oh,
is
thank
well
you.
done. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's super balanced. It's really nice. So how did you design that yourself, or did you end up having like a different like graphic designing company, or how did you put it all together? Because it's really fantastic.
So I personally built it.
Love
Now
that.
I used a theme. I used a template because I have the coding skills of, like, I don't know, a turnip. I'm like, I can't code to save my life. So I have my web store built within Shopify, which is basically an e-commerce platform. And
Yeah.
it's very simple in that you just sign up an account, you install a theme of your choice, and then you
Nice.
just start putting in whatever graphics, whatever you want in there in order to build it. And the when I first built the website, it did not look as nice as it does now, for sure.
Oh
There
no.
was a time when I was looking in, like, the internet archives, and I was like, I
Oh.
wonder what I'm going to take a trip down memory lane. And so I'm like looking online, and I'm like, oh my gosh, that looks so bad, but because it was like the most garish purple and, like, oversaturated orange, and it just was like, "Oh my gosh, this looks like a sports team color. This looks terrible right now
Yeah.
for what the brand is."
Oh no.
So, I've undergone a lot of evolution when it comes
Okay.
to the development of the actual interface, and I still will.
Yeah.
It's always because, like, there are trends, unfortunately, that are constantly coming in and out, and
Of course. Yeah.
like, Shopify's platform is, like, integrating some of that stuff in there, and so sometimes I have to adapt and uh,
Okay.
add certain things that is part of their new terms of service, or
Yeah.
make changes
Yeah.
to keep up to specification on their end. And but it's always changing, and
Uh,
I think that's part of being a small business owner, is that you have to be willing to just adapt with that. You
yeah.
have to be willing to move and change, because
Right.
if you don't, then there is a potential, possibility that you could completely be left behind in the dust.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I honestly feel like I'm really fortunate to be part of on a podcast on content creating,
Hmm.
because that doesn't really change that much. Like it's like, yeah, get on, say what you got to say. We do our thing. Of course, there's going to be video trends or sound modifications that are going
Hmm.
to come along, and you want to be along with that. So I totally understand being adaptable to those changes. But yeah, like I'm super fortunate. I suppose in that aspect. um,
Yeah, I mean, the advertising for you guys is more social media driven,
yes,
right? Okay.
yes. And I honestly I've been doing like the Facebook, but I really feel like I need to be hitting a lot more So yeah, that's probably the hardest part of what I do is just staying on top of the social media and
Yeah.
you know promoting my show and what we're doing. For me, that's
Marketing is so hard.
it really,
Oh,
yeah, it's a major challenge for sure, major challenge. Everything else is cake. Like I love it, like it's a walk in the park. It's not really hard for me. I don't know. I think that I'm similar in the way that I'm kind of very creative minded. I like to see balance in things. I like to um like put information out there. For me, I think I'm creative minded, but in a teaching format, if you
that's
will.
good though. Yeah, no,
Thank
because
you.
everybody has a very different method of how they absorb that information.
Right.
And yeah, education is you can never go wrong with that ever.
Yeah. No, for sure. I mean, the great teachers in the world.
Mhm.
Yeah. So okay. So yeah, I absolutely love your website.
Thank
I
you.
think I shared it with my co-host Simon, and I was like, "Gotta check her website out. It's next level." And he agreed. He was like, "Wow, this is really professionally done. So good work. You did excellent. I think it's
Thanks.
fantastic." So
Thanks.
um, yeah, yeah.
I
So what?
did so
Oh,
another
go ahead.
thing is that I also just started like I don't know if you guys have newsletters like at all for or a blog.
No, but I need to ship into that too, for sure.
Yeah, cause I know for, like, podcasts, like, being able to kind of piggyback off of, like, a more written thing, which is internet
Mhm.
searchable,
Mhm.
not that videos aren't, but I think for some people, if they're looking for something that's very consolidated and condensed,
Yes.
that works really well with each other,
Oh
and,
yeah.
being able to have that, like, a dual thing working side by side
Yeah.
is might actually help you guys out a huge, for in terms of growth.
No,
I'm,
that's
like,
a
talking
stellar
like a business
idea.
person.
Well, we are that we're both business people, absolutely. So I feel like that's definitely um that's a really great idea, and I appreciate that. So I'll make a note that I need to write a blog. I need to write a blog for sure.
Yeah,
But no,
and I
I
mean,
love
you
that.
could do lots of care guides and stuff like that for inverts, especially 'cause
Right?
I'm sure that, just like reptiles,
Yeah.
tarantulas and scorpions, they each have their own different type of like setup habitat requirements and
Oh
everything.
yeah.
And like that people, if they're looking for species specific stuff and they're looking for something very, very unique, they
Right.
could probably find that by doing a Google search like really easily.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, I find myself doing that a lot, especially with the podcast. Like, I'm not gonna lie, like I'm not an expert when it comes to entomology. Like I don't know everything about insects, or invertebrates, if you will. So, when we have a topic like scorpions or centipedes, I
Mhm.
have to do that research. I have to be like, well, what exactly is a centipede?
Mhm.
What um I come up with kind of a list of things that I want to know, or like what I would be curious of.
Mhm.
So for centipedes, it was like, do they have venom?
Yeah.
Uh, why are they weird and long? Like it's just like, what is with all those legs? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But because of that, those little list of questions that I was able to ask myself, I was able to answer those questions within my research, and then some. And then of
Mhm.
course I find, like species specific information. I can't think of any right now off the top of my head, but there were a couple that I was just really fascinated with. But same
Mhm.
thing with like scorpions and snails. I mean, when you really start to do that research and dig deep, there's it's limitless.
Mhm.
And
And
I mean,
one thing that you had just mentioned too
oh
is,
sure,
people will like education doesn't always have to be so like dry and factual. It's a
right,
journey. So
it
it's
is.
like other people, like we connect with people.
Yeah.
And when we find groups where we're just like, wow, this person is doing so much passionate stuff with the stuff that I'm super passionate about. And I absolutely want to be a part of this,
Yes.
and it's like you build stuff this way.
Yeah.
It's like if I want like a review, section, I'm going to go find some dry blog, to find reviews and stuff that,
Oh, sure.
you know, but if I want something where I can actually become a part of a community, that's exactly what I'm going to do. Is I'm going to
Yeah.
gravitate to people such as yourself who
Thank
have
you.
this incredible like love and passion for the things that you have in your environment, and you want to share
Yeah.
with everybody, because we connect with people who are on journeys and want to
Uh-huh.
share those journeys with others. And it's
Yeah.
just a human part of us, and that's why it's kind of like, this is another tangent that I could go off on, but I'm just going to keep it very brief. Why AI art, I don't think, is going to be over a long term
I agree.
as profitable as some folks think, because
Yeah.
human beings like to connect with each other, and
Right.
computers can't develop emotion, at least not right
Not
now, they
yet.
can't.
iRobot?
Yeah, yeah.
No.
I mean, maybe one day it will, like, become sentient
Sure.
and start looking at a camera lens and be like, "The sky is inspiring me to draw a painting today," you know? I don't think that's going to
Yeah.
happen anytime soon. So,
Yeah.
as long as
Right.
humans are still producing things and having these journeys with, information and education and knowledge and art and
Yeah.
culture, we're still going to be there. We're still gonna
Yeah.
resonate with that. So,
Absolutely.
yes.
And that was essentially the idea. I wanted to highlight Liliana super quickly because she was just checking out your website and she loves it.
Oh, thank
Um,
you.
so I wanted to let you know that I'm not the only one. No, I'm kidding. But yeah, no, I agree. Like when we're kind of growth minded, we definitely tend to attract that kind of community, people who
Mhm.
are in that mindset of growth and knowledge and um and so I agree with you that the AI just really it doesn't hit it for me, if you will. Like it doesn't,
Yeah.
like there's not going to be those subtle things. Like you can I have seen some pretty cool AI things. They're very detailed and whatnot, but those subtle like nuances, I think that make
Mhm.
make them personable through the artwork, like
Yes.
though that's just not going to be there, and I'm not a huge fan of that. So
Yeah.
um, I don't think that artwork is something that we can just simulate.
Yeah.
I simulate. I don't think that that's really like I don't believe there's a lot of worth in that. Just
Mhm.
because artwork stemmed from a need to be heard and to vocalize, and so or to be heard essentially to like
Mhm.
you know from the cave paintings in France that are just how many thousands of years old,
Right.
like that was the very first bit of artwork that we can really look at and say this was a need to be
Mhm.
heard. It was a need to say something, to tell a story.
Yep.
And I don't think AI can do it as well as we do.
Right. And
So
I think there's some places where AI can work just fine, where
oh
let's
sure,
just say you've got like 50 items you need to retouch for like a marketing promotional thing.
yeah,
And okay, I can kind of see it being useful in cases like that. But
right,
like we said, if you're talking more about an emotional appeal with each other as people, it's going to fall flat wholeheartedly. It just
absolutely.
does not understand.
I also don't feel like I would be able to trust an AI to feed all of my tarantulas and take care of all the maintenance and stuff because
Yeah, no, I agree.
you know what I mean? Like they can't like understand the body language of that tarantula at in that given moment, yeah. There's
I can
so
almost see, like, if it's a robot, it's just like, stop posturing. This is inappropriate. You are being
right,
bad." And there's this spider with its legs up, it's like
just
very upset, it's just like, "Get away, get away."
right. Oh man, trying to bite the robot like
Yeah.
okay.
You
Oh
are being
goodness.
rude.
Oh man. Okay. So we'll go into this like kind of couple, maybe one or two more questions, but
Sure.
I have this question I think is a really, really great one. I'm not sure if I sent it to you, but I probably did, and I don't know. I'm sorry.
You're good.
So, what do you hope your artwork like inspires in people who see it and get to have it? You know what I mean? Because I love your artwork, but for you, there's a mission, I'm sure. So, what kind of feelings or what are you trying to elicit in people with your
So
artwork?
what I hope people take away when they see my work is that reptiles and inverts are not scary. There
Awesome.
is a sense of beauty and wonder and just a general curiosity about these animals that we are still discovering. Like, I
Oh,
know that
absolutely.
reptile behavior and even just
Yeah.
how we're keeping them is still constantly changing. I mean,
Always.
from
Yeah.
when I first started, even when I brought in my first bearded dragon, there has been so much interesting stuff that we've discovered about them, like the fact that they have REM sleep to a certain degree, and
Right?
it's kind of like, we wonder, do androids dream of electric sheep? Well, what do bearded dragons dream about? It's like, are there
Crickets.
little bug yes, crickets, or sitting on their favorite basking spot or something.
Sure.
It's just fascinating how little we actually know about a
Yeah.
collective of animals that have existed on our planet for
Mm.
an incredibly long time.
Right.
We had
Yeah.
these notions in our head that, oh, they're stupid, they're not very intelligent. And
Right.
the more that we actually study them based off of proper scientific studies, instead of
Mhm.
comparing to mammals and doing tests that we gave to mammals,
Mhm.
we're discovering that they're a lot more clever and they're a lot more interesting than we gave them credit for, you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I really hope that my artwork can kind of inspire that and draw people into it and see, hey, these aren't
Yeah.
scary. It's like, okay, a snake is a weird tube, but with a mouth, but these ones right here, they kind of look after their babies for a little
Yeah.
while. That's
Oh
interesting.
yeah.
I didn't realize that.
Yeah.
Or, monkey tail skinks, they're very social for
Yeah.
reptiles.
Yeah.
It's not
Right.
common, but, that kind of thing, I just really would hope, to draw people in and just
Yeah.
recognize they're not creepy, they're not slimy, they're not
Right.
ugly, they're adorable, and
Yeah.
you can take, like, I mean, there's people who go out and take the blobfish and make it into something that's incredibly adorable, and it's like, you look at that thing and you're just like, I don't know about this, but it works, and people are
It
just like,
does.
"Oh,"
Yeah.
and I really hope to do that with my art. I want to be able to kind of get more people interested in it that
Yes.
way.
I love that. Like I do feel that you do definitely hit that.
Mhm.
Um hit that goal cuz I like I said the hog nose piece that you have just yeah, I saw that and I was floored because it is so cute. It captures like the cuteness of their little upturned nose and
Mhm.
just how dainty and like kind of goofy they are. Like you captured all of that
They're
perfectly.
so goofy.
They really are. I actually, it's funny because the other night I was with a couple of friends and they were telling me how they don't kill spiders anymore in their house because of, me and my channel. And I was like,
That's
oh, that's really
awesome.
cool. Right? Like that kind of fuels me a little more to keep doing what I do.
For
Um,
sure.
and I'm, and I'm sure like that's kind of the same goal. But
You
I was telling them about hog noses and how they play dead, and they
Oh,
were like, "No
yeah.
way, no way." And I was like, "Yeah, no, let me find a video." I, and I
And
showed them like,
I love the
yeah,
fact too that when they play dead and you flip them over, they, like, immediately flip back over onto their back again, like, "No, really, I'm dead.
yeah,
I'm really dead."
yes, and they'll just leave their little mouth open and have their
Yeah.
tongue out and everything. Like they are just the masters of the cartoon dead play,
They really are.
playing dead. It's just
Yes.
amazing. absolutely love that. And I think that you really encapsulate that in a lot of your pieces. I think that they're absolutely beautiful. They're wonderful to look at, but they also do bring in that cuteness, that endearment that, those of us who keep and we've been keeping a while and stuff, we already know. Like we're well
Mhm.
aware of how cute our creatures are. Um and
Like, and
so
even tarantulas, like, they do
yeah.
some things that are just like, "Really? Why are you doing this?" Like, how many times have you come in the morning and found substrate buried inside their water dish, and you're just like,
Oh,
"Really? Like,
constantly.
really?" You know?
Yes.
And I've seen like, I finally have been able to see videos of them gathering up the substrate in
Uh-huh.
their pedipalps and then walking out and then just going, "Eh," and it's just like, "Oh my gosh, this is adorable." Like, I
It
mean
is. They're like little bulldozers, just like
yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, they definitely do really cute stuff. I'm kind of a sucker for the Calitherae, so their fangs. I think they look like mustaches,
Oh
and
my
and
gosh,
this is
they
for
do.
all spiders. All spiders have Calitherae, and
Mhm.
so I love the various shapes of them. So they all just kind of look like cute old man mustaches,
Yeah.
and so
That could be an art
yeah,
piece all in itself, like the various mustaches of spiders, and then
yes.
just have like a side by side comparison of all of their different chelicerae and everything. Yeah.
Oh man, I mean, you have yourself. You would have a monopoly on that one for sure. Because I don't think I've ever seen anybody doing that, and it's definitely something. It's cute. Um, so yeah. All right. Well, we're about done with our
Oh
hour.
gosh,
I know
time
it went by
flies.
pretty quick,
I know.
but you're so much fun to talk to. I absolutely love it. Um, And yeah, I can't wait to run into you again and more expos.
Yeah,
But
for sure.
we do this fun little segment called our shameless plug. So I'm giving you the soapbox here. You can do your shameless plug. Anything that you want to, anything that basically you want to promote. Maybe you have something coming up, something new. Have at it now.
So, if you guys want to follow me online, you can go to Instagram or Facebook and search for One Fatty Pancake, and that's one all spelled out.
Yeah,
And you can follow me there, or you can sign up for our newsletter on fattypancake.com that just launched not too long ago. And for your
nice,
first order, you can get 10% off. And on the newsletter, I intend on doing some freebies every month and some extra deals that aren't going to be published like front and center on the website. So yeah,
awesome.
definitely sign up and see what we're doing. So we're kind of growing in
Yeah,
that arena. But for shows, I'm kind of done for the rest of the year. I
cool.
just kind of taking the rest of the year off to kind of
Yes.
relax and catch up on some things. But I will be doing shows again, probably starting next March. So Salt Lake
Wonderful.
City, Denver, look for me there, and I will always be posting online.
Awesome. Love it. Thank you so much, Mel. I appreciate you being on our show.
And thank you for
And
inviting me. This was fun.
yeah, it was a blast, right?
Yeah.
I'm glad you enjoyed it. Yes, so much fun. I just have one shameless plug. Don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel here, InvertiCast. We are on Amazon Music now, Spotify, rss.com, all like a whole bunch. I think I'm also on iHeartRadio. So if you guys can't watch the podcast, definitely you can listen to it. So yeah, just wanted to say that because it's kind of a fun. I've been working real hard to get all the episodes up. Um, and yeah, so and obviously check out Fatty Pancake. Absolutely, the website is phenomenal. She's got mugs, t-shirts, stickers, keychains, right? Yeah,
Mhm.
you have keychains. Yeah, she's
Or
got. I
no, I
mean,
don't have keychains, no. Just
oh,
the
okay.
stickers. I've got card decals, which can also be customizable for your enclosures too.
Yes, I do love the car decals. Those are really neat. I want that hog nose.
Hey,
Yes,
hit me up at the show. Hit me up at the show.
I will. I will. I'll be there for sure. But yes, definitely check out Fatty Pancake and One Fatty Pancake on Instagram and Facebook. And you'll see all of Mail's wonderful artwork. And yeah, we'll see you guys next week. And thanks again for watching. Thank
Thank
you,
you
Mail.
guys. Thank you.
Bye.
I appreciate it.
Yeah.